Have you ever stopped to wonder why two people, starting from the same place, can end up in completely different worlds? One lives with hope, vision, and growth, while the other stays trapped in doubt, fear, and frustration. What makes the difference? It isn't luck, it isn't background, and it isn't even talent. It's thought. The quiet conversation happening inside the mind every single day is shaping the reality you walk into tomorrow. Think about it. Your mind is like a garden. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds grow into courage, purpose, and joy. Others grow into fear, doubt, and limitation. The question is, what are you planting? Because the garden will grow either way. You become what you think. That's not just philosophy. It's a law of life. Your beliefs carve your behavior, your focus fuels your energy, and your imagination opens, or closes, the doors of possibility. When you tell yourself you can, you find the strength. When you tell yourself you can't, you stop before you even start. So let me ask you, what if you shifted your inner dialogue today? What if, instead of rehearsing your limits, you practiced your potential? Imagine waking up tomorrow with a mind trained to see opportunities, a heart set on growth, and a spirit unshaken by setbacks. This journey isn't about positive thinking for the sake of optimism. It's about training your mind to become your greatest ally, your most loyal supporter, your unstoppable engine. The thoughts you choose today are the blueprint of the life you will live tomorrow. And starting now, you get to choose differently. Every great achievement, every powerful transformation, every life that inspires generations begins with a single thought. Thoughts are the invisible blueprints that shape the structure of your destiny. They are not just fleeting whispers in your mind. They are the foundation on which your future is built. When you think of yourself as capable, strong, and worthy, you lay the bricks of confidence, courage, and resilience. When you indulge in thoughts of limitation, fear, and doubt, you quietly design a life smaller than your true potential. Your destiny does not arrive by accident. It is constructed moment by moment through the thoughts you choose to nurture. Consider how an architect visualizes a building before a single stone is laid. The vision comes first, the plan follows, and then action brings it to life. Your mind works the same way. The thoughts you hold with intention become the plans your subconscious follows, guiding your behavior, shaping your decisions, and influencing every step you take. This means your current reality is nothing more than a reflection of your past thinking, and your future reality will be the result of what you decide to think today. If you want to change the direction of your life, start by changing the design in your mind. Choose thoughts that empower instead of weaken, thoughts that lift you higher instead of holding you down. The mind does not differentiate between a thought of success and a thought of failure. It builds according to the instructions you give it. Each day is another chance to hand your mind new blueprints, to think in ways that align with your goals, to believe in the greatness that already exists within you, and to trust that the destiny you imagine can be built through thought. What you give your attention to expands, and what you neglect begins to fade. Energy flows where your focus goes, and this truth determines whether you move closer to your goals or drift further away from them. Imagine holding a magnifying glass under the sun. The light is always there, but only when it's concentrated does it have the power to ignite fire. Your mind works the same way. Scattered focus weakens your results, but deliberate focus directs your energy into creating meaningful progress. Every distraction you entertain, every negative thought you repeat, every doubt you dwell on consumes precious energy that could have been fueling your vision. On the other hand, when you focus on growth, learning, and possibilities, you channel energy into building the life you truly want. Your focus is not neutral. It's a force that either empowers or disempowers you. If you constantly concentrate on obstacles, you give them strength. If you place your attention on solutions, you give yourself power. Athletes, leaders, and creators who achieve extraordinary results are not necessarily the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who have learned to master their focus, to direct their mental energy with precision, and to stay committed even when distractions try to pull them away. Each day you wake up with a limited supply of mental energy, and where you place your focus will determine whether that energy is invested or wasted. The more you concentrate on what matters most, the more momentum you create. Focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and the energy that flows from it is what builds the future you envision. A strong mind is the foundation upon which every aspect of life is built, because it determines how you face challenges, how you respond to setbacks, and how you create opportunities. A strong mind is not about never feeling fear or doubt, but about mastering the ability to rise above them. When your mind is trained to stay steady under pressure, resilient in the face of adversity, and focused on possibilities instead of problems, you naturally build a stronger life. Strength in the mind translates into strength in decisions, strength in habits, and strength in actions. Life will always test you with difficulties, unexpected turns, and moments that demand more than you think you can give. A weak mind crumbles in those moments, giving in to fear, excuses, or despair. But a strong mind grows even stronger, learning from the challenge, adapting to the circumstances, and finding new ways forward. Every success story is built on mental toughness, on the ability to stay committed when things get hard, and to believe in possibilities even when others see limits. The body follows the direction of the mind, and the quality of your outer life reflects the discipline of your inner world. A strong mind allows you to turn pain into growth, failure into wisdom, and obstacles into stepping stones. It gives you the clarity to set a vision, the courage to take risks, and the endurance to keep moving forward when the path is long. Just as muscles grow stronger with consistent training, the mind becomes unshakable with consistent practice, feeding it empowering thoughts, focusing it on meaningful goals, and protecting it from negativity. A strong mind is not a gift but a choice, and when you build it daily, you create the strength to live fully and rise above anything. Belief is the spark that ignites action, the invisible force that turns dreams into reality. What you believe you begin to achieve, because belief shapes the way you think, the way you act, and the way you persevere when things become difficult. Every great accomplishment in history started as a belief in someone's mind. A belief that something was possible before it ever existed in the physical world. When you believe in your ability to grow, to learn, and to overcome, you give yourself permission to take steps others might avoid. That belief fuels courage, and courage leads to action. Without belief, even the most talented individual remains stuck, doubting their capacity and holding back from opportunities. With belief, even someone with limited resources can rise above obstacles and achieve greatness. Belief creates a vision, and vision attracts momentum. Your subconscious mind listens to what you believe most deeply and begins to align your behaviors, habits, and decisions with that belief. If you believe you cannot, you stop before starting, and your belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you can, you give yourself the persistence to keep going, and eventually your belief manifests into results. Success is rarely instant, and challenges will test you, but belief keeps you anchored when the journey is long. It allows you to see setbacks not as failures, but as steps toward growth. Belief is not about ignoring reality, it is about choosing to see possibilities within it. Every achievement begins with a mind that dares to believe something better is possible, and once that belief takes root, it transforms hesitation into action, action into progress, and progress into lasting success. Life is full of unexpected twists, obstacles, and moments that test your strength. But the difference between breaking down and breaking through often comes from the way you think. Positive thoughts build resilience against challenges because they provide the mental fuel needed to keep moving forward when everything around you feels heavy. A positive thought is not about denying the difficulty of a situation, but about choosing to see a way through it. rather than being consumed by it. When your mind leans toward optimism, you start to see setbacks as temporary and problems as opportunities for growth. This mindset gives you the strength to adapt, to learn, and to recover more quickly. Challenges can drain your energy, but positive thoughts restore it, reminding you that difficulties do not define you, they refine you. Each time you respond with positivity, you strengthen your inner capacity to endure. Just like a muscle becomes stronger when tested by resistance, your resilience grows when positivity fuels your perspective. A negative mindset magnifies problems, making them appear bigger than they are, while a positive mindset reduces their power by focusing on solutions. Positive thinking does not remove challenges, but it transforms how you experience them. It keeps hope alive in the middle of uncertainty. It fuels determination when the path is unclear, and it gives you the courage to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. People who cultivate positive thoughts are not immune to setbacks, but they are unshaken by them because their resilience is built from within. Each encouraging thought acts like armor, shielding you from despair and equipping you to rise again stronger than before. No matter how many times life knocks you down, the words you speak to yourself each day carry more weight than the words spoken by anyone else, because they create the foundation of how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve. Self-talk shapes your self-worth, silently influencing your confidence, your choices, and the way you show up in the world. When your inner voice is critical, harsh, and filled with doubt, it chips away at your sense of value and convinces you that you are less capable than you truly are. But when your self-talk is encouraging, compassionate, and empowering, it strengthens your belief in yourself and fuels the courage to take action. The mind listens closely to the messages you repeat, and over time those messages become the truth you live by. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, you will unconsciously make decisions that match that belief, accepting less than you deserve. If you remind yourself that you are capable, resilient, and deserving of success, you begin to pursue opportunities and create experiences that reflect those truths. Self-talk acts like an internal mirror, constantly reflecting back either strength or weakness, depending on what you choose to say. The most successful people are not those who never doubt, but those who have trained their inner voice to rise above doubt with words of faith and determination. Shaping yourself, talk is not about empty flattery. It is about speaking to yourself in a way that builds courage, trust, and resilience. Every time you choose words of kindness and belief instead of criticism, you reinforce the foundation of self-worth that allows you to face challenges with confidence and embrace opportunities with an open heart. Dreams are fragile at the beginning, like seeds waiting to grow, and the biggest threat to them is not failure but doubt. Doubt kills dreams faster than failure because it stops you before you even try, robbing you of the chance to learn, grow, and discover your true potential. Failure, on the other hand, is a teacher, a stepping stone, and often a necessary part of success. Many people who achieved greatness failed countless times, but what kept them moving forward was the absence of crippling doubt. Doubt whispers that you are not ready, not capable, or not worthy, and when you listen, you hand over your power before the journey even begins. Failure at least moves you forward. It shows you what does not work and guides you toward what will. Doubt keeps you frozen in place, convincing you to abandon your goals and settle for less than you are capable of achieving. Every invention, every masterpiece, every story of triumph could have been destroyed by doubt if its creator had listened too closely. The real tragedy is not failing but never starting because you doubted yourself. When doubt rises, it magnifies risks, highlights weaknesses, and blinds you to opportunities. But when you choose to silence doubt with action, you give your dreams room to breathe and grow. The truth is, you do not have to eliminate doubt completely. You just have to refuse to let it control your decisions. Failure will shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you, but doubt will steal your future before you ever touch it. Your dreams deserve the chance to live, and that chance begins when you stop letting doubt have the final word. Every great transformation, every moment of progress that changes the course of a life begins first in the mind with a single belief. Belief is the spark that lights the path before action is taken, the silent force that tells you it is possible, even when nothing in your current reality reflects it yet. Every breakthrough begins with a belief, because without it, there is no reason to try, no courage to begin, and no strength to continue. Belief plants the seed of possibility, and once that seed is alive within you, it drives you to move forward, to take risks, and to stay committed until the breakthrough arrives. History is filled with stories of people who achieved the impossible not because they had all the answers, resources, or perfect timing, but because they held on to a belief stronger than their fears and stronger than their doubts. Belief turns obstacles into temporary detours rather than dead ends, and it turns setbacks into stepping stones toward something greater. When you believe something can happen, your mind begins to search for solutions, your actions align with your vision, and opportunities that were once invisible suddenly appear. A breakthrough is never an accident, it is the result of consistent effort fueled by belief. Even in the darkest seasons, belief gives you the resilience to push forward, to see beyond your current struggles, and to imagine a better future waiting to be claimed. Without belief, even the simplest goal feels impossible, but with belief, even the greatest challenges become surmountable. Every new level of growth, every success story, every extraordinary achievement starts with someone daring to believe that more is possible for them. And that decision to believe is what opens the door to breakthrough. The way you speak to yourself in silence is not just background noise. It is the script that writes your life. Your inner voice becomes your outer reality because it directs your actions, influences your decisions, and shapes the way you interact with the world. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, negativity, and criticism, it will reflect in the choices you make and the opportunities you allow yourself to pursue. You might hesitate when you should act, shrink when you should rise, and settle when you should reach higher. On the other hand, when your inner voice is encouraging, confident, and hopeful, it pushes you to move boldly, to take risks, and to persist even when obstacles stand in your way. The stories you tell yourself internally become the experiences you create externally. Every achievement, every setback, every relationship is touched by the tone of that voice inside your mind. The world responds not only to what you do, but to the energy you carry. And that energy is born from your inner dialogue. If you repeat thoughts of strength, your actions will reflect strength. If you repeat thoughts of limitation, your actions will reflect limitation. Your inner voice acts like a compass, silently guiding you in the direction of your dominant beliefs. Changing your reality, therefore, begins with changing the conversation within. Speaking to yourself with kindness, power, and possibility lays the foundation for confidence and courage to shine outwardly. The inner voice you cultivate today will determine the reality you live tomorrow, because everything you build on the outside begins with the whispers you allow on the inside. The patterns you repeat in your mind eventually become the patterns you repeat in your life. Consistent thoughts create lasting habits because what you dwell on most often becomes the blueprint your actions follow. A single thought may pass by without impact, but when it is repeated daily, it begins to carve a pathway in your mind, programming your subconscious to act in alignment with it. If you constantly think about discipline, focus, and growth, your behavior naturally adapts to reflect those qualities, and over time, they form into habits that feel automatic. The same is true for negative thoughts. When you repeatedly focus on doubt, fear, or excuses, you unconsciously build habits that limit your potential and hold you back. Habits are not formed overnight. They are the result of repeated choices that are born from repeated thoughts. Every successful person has mastered this truth by training their mind to consistently focus on the vision they want, the values they live by, and the goals they are pursuing. The brain learns through repetition, and every thought you choose to nurture strengthens a mental pathway until it becomes second nature. This is why affirmations, visualization, and intentional focus are so powerful. They align your inner world with the habits that create external success. The habits you have today are simply the echo of the thoughts you repeated yesterday, and the habits you build tomorrow will be the result of the thoughts you repeat today. By consciously choosing empowering thoughts and returning to them again and again, you program yourself to act with consistency, and those consistent actions form the lasting habits that build your future. Every invention, every success story, every transformation that has shaped history began first as a vision in someone's mind. Vision starts in the mind before it exists in the world, because the imagination is the workshop where the impossible becomes possible. Before there was a light bulb, Thomas Edison saw a world lit differently in his thoughts. Before there were airplanes, the Wright brothers imagined flying when everyone else believed it was absurd. This is the power of vision. It allows you to see what does not yet exist and hold on to it until it takes shape in reality. Your mind is the canvas, and vision is the picture you paint upon it. The clearer the vision, the stronger the drive to bring it to life. Without vision, actions lack direction, and efforts feel scattered. With vision, even the most ordinary moments gain meaning because every step connects to a bigger picture. Vision is what keeps you moving when challenges appear, because you can see beyond the present struggle to the future reward. It gives you purpose, clarity, and resilience. Many people believe they need the resources first, the opportunities first, or the support first, but the truth is that vision always comes before those things. Vision attracts the resources, aligns the opportunities, and inspires others to support you. People follow leaders with vision because vision sparks belief, and belief fuels action. When you dare to hold a vision in your mind, you give yourself permission to dream bigger than your circumstances. You begin to live not only in the world as it is, but also in the world as it could be. The world you experience today is a reflection of visions held by people yesterday. The world you create tomorrow will be a reflection of the vision you hold today. That is why protecting and nurturing your vision is so important. What you repeatedly imagine, you begin to believe, and what you believe, you begin to act upon until it becomes real. Vision is the bridge between thought and reality, and it always begins in the unseen mind long before it is visible to the eyes. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions, but at its core, fear is only a thought. It is the mind projecting danger, failure, or rejection before it even happens. Fear often feels overwhelming, as though it has the power to stop you completely, yet the truth is that fear is built on perception, not on fact. Change the thought that fuels the fear, and suddenly the entire path in front of you shifts. Many people never chase their dreams, not because they are incapable, but because their thoughts of fear convince them to stay still. They imagine the worst possible outcomes, and those images become strong enough to paralyze action. When you recognize fear as nothing more than a mental construction, you take back your power. Fear is not a wall but a story, and stories can be rewritten. You can replace the thought of, "I can't," with "I can try," and immediately the weight of fear begins to lessen. You can replace the thought of "I will fail" with "I will learn," and fear transforms into courage. The path does not change because the obstacles disappear. It changes because your perspective shifts, and suddenly what once looked impossible becomes manageable. Every courageous act in history was performed by someone who felt fear, but chose a different thought. They chose to see opportunity where others saw risk, growth where others saw danger, and possibility where others saw failure. Fear will always appear when you step into the unknown, but it does not have to decide your future. The moment you challenge your fearful thoughts and replace them with empowering ones, you unlock the strength to move forward. Fear may be part of the human experience, but it does not have to control the human destiny. By understanding that it lives only in the mind, you can choose to rewrite it, reframe it, and rise above it. When you do, your path widens, your courage deepens, and your life begins to expand beyond limits you once believed were real. Every achievement you admire, every success story that inspires you, was first born in the imagination long before it appeared in reality. Success begins in imagination before it manifests in action, because the mind must see it, believe it, and embrace it before the body can create it. Imagination is the starting point of all progress. It allows you to build a picture of what does not yet exist and hold it so clearly that your actions naturally align to bring it to life. Without imagination, there is no vision, and without vision, there is no direction for your energy or focus. When you imagine success, you give your mind permission to believe it is possible. That mental picture becomes a compass, guiding your decisions, sharpening your focus, and fueling your determination. Think about how athletes visualize crossing the finish line before the race, how entrepreneurs envision their business thriving before the first customer arrives, or how artists see the completed masterpiece before touching the canvas. Their imagination acts as a rehearsal, preparing their minds and bodies to perform at their highest level. Imagination is not daydreaming without purpose. It is intentional vision building. It is crafting the blueprint for the life you want and reminding yourself daily of that picture until it becomes ingrained in your thinking. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined reality and a lived experience, so when you repeatedly imagine success, you prime your brain to expect it, and expectation drives behavior. Action is the bridge that brings imagination into reality, but without the spark of imagination, action lacks direction and meaning. Success always begins as a thought, an idea, a dream that grows in the mind until it becomes too strong to ignore. When you dare to imagine boldly, you awaken the courage to act, and when you act consistently on that vision, success eventually manifests. The life you create is simply the echo of the imagination you choose to nurture, and every step forward begins with the willingness to see it in your mind first. Gratitude is more than a polite gesture or a momentary feeling. It is a way of thinking that reshapes your entire experience of life. Gratitude thoughts multiply joy in your life because they shift your focus from what is missing to what is already present, from what is lacking to what is abundant. When you choose to think with gratitude, even the simplest moments become sources of happiness: the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a meal, or the presence of someone who cares about you. Joy is not always found in gaining more, but in appreciating more, and gratitude is the key that unlocks that awareness. Your mind has a natural tendency to notice problems, challenges, and unmet desires, but gratitude interrupts that cycle by redirecting your attention to blessings. The more you practice gratitude in your thoughts, the more you train your brain to recognize the good around you, and what you focus on expands. Gratitude thoughts create a ripple effect. They calm stress, soften negativity, and open your heart to a deeper sense of fulfillment. Suddenly, what once felt ordinary becomes extraordinary simply because you chose to see it differently. Gratitude also fuels resilience. When life gets hard, a grateful mind finds strength in what is still working, what is still possible, and what is still beautiful. It does not deny pain, but it prevents pain from becoming the only story. Gratitude multiplies joy not just in good times, but especially in difficult times, because it reminds you that there is always something worth holding on to. The joy born from gratitude is not fleeting. It grows with practice. Each grateful thought adds to an inner reservoir of peace and happiness, one that no external circumstance can easily take away. By filling your mind with gratitude, you cultivate joy that is steady, lasting, and ever expanding, and that joy radiates into every area of your life. Confidence is not something you stumble upon by chance. It is something you build, layer by layer, through the thoughts you choose to repeat. Confidence is born from repeated, empowering thoughts, because the mind eventually believes what it hears most often. If you continually tell yourself that you are capable, strong, and ready, your actions begin to reflect that belief. On the other hand, if you repeatedly allow thoughts of doubt and weakness to dominate, you unconsciously shrink your potential and hesitate when opportunities arise. The foundation of lasting confidence is not perfection, talent, or luck. It is the consistent training of your inner dialogue to support, uplift, and empower you. Each time you face a challenge, your inner voice either equips you with courage or drains you with fear. Empowering thoughts act like fuel, giving you the energy to take the next step, even when the outcome is uncertain. Over time, every repeated positive thought becomes a mental anchor, reminding you of your worth and your ability to overcome difficulties. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the persistence of belief in the presence of fear. And that belief is strengthened every time you feed your mind with empowering words and images. Consider how athletes, performers, or leaders prepare for high-stakes moments. They rehearse not only their skills but also their mindset, filling their thoughts with affirmations and visualizations that reinforce confidence. They understand that the mind must believe before the body can achieve. The same principle applies to every area of life. Your repeated thoughts either build confidence or dismantle it. By intentionally choosing empowering thoughts, you create a mental environment where confidence can thrive. You teach yourself to see challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and progress as proof of growth. Confidence is never built in a single moment. It is crafted through the steady repetition of thoughts that affirm your strength and potential until believing in yourself becomes your natural state of being. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains that quietly hold you back from reaching the life you are truly capable of living. They are not physical barriers, yet they feel just as real because they shape the way you think, act, and decide. These beliefs often come from past experiences, societal conditioning, or the words of others, but over time they become the stories you repeat to yourself. I'm not good enough, I don't deserve success, or people like me never make it. These are the chains that keep dreams small and potential locked away. Yet the truth is, limiting beliefs are nothing more than thoughts you have agreed to believe, and because you accepted them once, you can also reject and replace them. Breaking these chains begins with awareness. You cannot change a belief you do not recognize. By paying attention to the thoughts that arise when you face a challenge or pursue a goal, you can uncover the hidden limits that have been steering your choices. Once you see them clearly, you gain the power to question them. Is this belief absolutely true? Who told me this, and why should I still accept it? What evidence exists that proves otherwise? Each question weakens the chains until they no longer have the same power. Replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones is the next step. When you begin to affirm new truths, I am capable, I deserve opportunities, I can learn what I don't yet know, you reprogram your mind to align with growth instead of restriction. The more consistently you feed your mind empowering beliefs, the weaker the old chains become. Everyone carries limiting beliefs at some point, but they do not have to define your future. You hold the key to break them by choosing new thoughts, creating new evidence, and living in alignment with a higher vision of yourself. Once the chains fall away, you discover that the limits you thought were real were only illusions, and beyond them lies a freedom to grow, achieve, and live without restriction. Great leadership is not built on titles, positions, or authority. It is built on mindset. Great leaders master their mindset first because they understand that the way they think shapes the way they lead, and the way they lead shapes the lives of those who follow them. A leader who cannot manage their own thoughts will struggle to inspire others, but a leader who has trained their mind to stay calm under pressure, focused on vision, and resilient in adversity becomes a source of strength for everyone around them. Leadership begins within, and mindset is the foundation. When challenges arise, people look to leaders not just for solutions but for stability. A leader with a disciplined mindset radiates confidence even in uncertainty, showing others that obstacles can be overcome. They choose thoughts of possibility instead of panic, solutions instead of excuses, and growth instead of fear. This mental discipline is what allows them to make clear decisions when others are clouded by doubt. By mastering their mindset, they set the tone for the team or community they lead, creating an environment of belief and persistence. Great leaders also understand the power of vision. They use their mindset to see what does not yet exist, holding on to that picture with unwavering belief until others begin to see it too. Their thoughts fuel their communication, and their communication inspires action. Without mindset mastery, vision would crumble under the weight of obstacles, but with it, vision becomes unshakable. Mastering mindset also means mastering self-talk. Leaders cannot lead effectively if they are consumed by inner doubt, so they cultivate empowering thoughts that reinforce confidence and clarity. This inner strength allows them to uplift others, even in the face of criticism or failure. History's greatest leaders were not free of challenges, but they were free from being controlled by negative thinking. Their ability to guide others came from their ability to guide themselves first. By mastering their mindset, they created not only personal success, but collective success, proving that true leadership begins not with power, but with the discipline of thought. You said your brain believes what you tell it most often. Expand it in 400-word without heading and never add any ending sentence. ChatGPT said the brain is like fertile soil, ready to grow whatever seeds you plant, and the seeds you plant are your thoughts. Your brain believes what you tell it most often because repetition shapes belief, and belief shapes behavior. The words and images you consistently feed your mind eventually become your truth, even if they started as simple ideas. If you tell yourself every day that you are not enough, your brain will accept that as reality and guide your actions to match it. If you tell yourself every day that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of success, your brain will also accept that and empower you to act in alignment with it. This is why affirmations, self-talk, and visualization are such powerful tools. They are not just feel-good practices, they are methods of training the brain to accept new instructions. The subconscious mind does not question whether something is good or bad, true or false. It simply absorbs what is repeated and works to make it consistent with your experience. Over time, the thoughts you feed it become the filter through which you see the world and the foundation upon which you make decisions. Consider how people who constantly focus on problems tend to find more problems, while those who focus on solutions often find opportunities. The brain is always scanning for evidence to support the story it has been told most often. By choosing the story carefully, you choose the life you build. The brain's ability to believe repeated thoughts can work for or against you, depending on what you choose to tell it. That is why it is essential to be intentional with your inner dialogue. Fill it with thoughts that strengthen rather than weaken, empower rather than limit, and inspire rather than discourage. The story you tell your brain becomes the story you live, and by repeating the right messages, you can shape a reality that reflects your highest potential. Hope is the light that keeps you moving when the road feels dark and uncertain. Hope-filled thinking fuels perseverance because it gives your mind a reason to keep going even when circumstances suggest you should stop. When challenges pile up, when progress feels slow, and when obstacles seem endless, hope whispers that something better is still possible. It is not blind optimism or ignoring reality. It is the inner conviction that effort is worth it, that tomorrow holds opportunities, and that setbacks are not the end of the story. Without hope, even small difficulties can feel overwhelming, draining your energy and convincing you to give up. But with hope, even the heaviest burdens feel lighter because you believe they are leading somewhere meaningful. Hope changes the way you interpret struggle. Instead of seeing it as pointless pain, you see it as part of a journey toward growth and success. That shift in perspective is what fuels perseverance giving you the strength to endure storms without losing sight of your vision. Hope-filled thinking also activates creativity and problem-solving. When you believe there is a way forward, your mind begins searching for solutions instead of surrendering to despair. This determination to keep looking, keep trying, and keep moving is what separates those who quit from those who ultimately succeed. History is full of individuals who achieved greatness, not because their path was easy, but because their hope kept them resilient when others gave up. Perseverance is never born from despair. It grows from hope. Each hopeful thought adds fuel to your inner fire, helping you take one more step, try one more time, and push through one more obstacle. Hope may not remove the challenge, but it gives you the endurance to outlast it. When your mind is filled with hope, quitting stops being an option, and perseverance becomes the natural response. The worry is one of the most draining uses of the mind because it takes the same powerful imagination that can create solutions and uses it to create problems that do not yet exist. Worry is wasted imagination. Redirect it, because every moment you spend imagining worst-case scenarios is energy taken away from building best-case possibilities. The mind is incredibly creative, and when it focuses on fear, it exaggerates obstacles, multiplies risks, and paints vivid pictures of failure. These images feel so real that they paralyze action, even though they are nothing more than thoughts. When you recognize that worry is simply imagination pointed in the wrong direction, you begin to see its hidden potential. The same mental energy used to imagine loss, rejection, or defeat can be redirected to visualize success, solutions, and opportunities. Instead of asking, "What if it all goes wrong?" you can ask, "What if it all goes right?" That simple shift changes not only how you feel but also how you act. Positive imagination fuels courage while worry drains it. Worry never prevents tomorrow's problems, but it steals today's peace. It tricks you into living a future that hasn't happened while neglecting the power you hold in the present moment. Redirecting worry does not mean ignoring challenges. It means using your imagination to see possibilities and prepare for them instead of being consumed by fear. When you focus your thoughts on preparation, growth, and resilience, you strengthen yourself for whatever comes. Every breakthrough, every dream, every success began with imagination directed toward belief instead of worry. You already have the tool, the ability to picture things in your mind. The choice lies in how you use it. Worry is wasted imagination, but when redirected, it becomes the most powerful force for creating a future filled with hope, progress, and achievement. Clarity of thought is the foundation of every meaningful action, because the way you think determines the way you move. When your thoughts are scattered, confused, or clouded by doubt, your actions will mirror that lack of direction, often leading to hesitation, wasted effort, or decisions that don't align with your true goals. But when your mind is clear, when you know what you want and why you want it, your actions naturally gain precision and purpose. Clarity of thought creates clarity of action, and this is why the most successful people spend as much time sharpening their mindset as they do sharpening their skills. A clear mind acts like a compass in uncertain times. It allows you to separate distractions from priorities and noise from truth. Without clarity, every challenge looks overwhelming because you cannot tell what truly matters. With clarity, challenges become manageable because you know where to direct your energy. Think of an archer aiming at a target. If their vision is blurred, no matter how skilled they are, the arrow will miss its mark. But if their vision is sharp, even a difficult shot becomes possible. Your thoughts are the same. The sharper the focus, the more accurate your actions. Clarity of thought also reduces stress and hesitation. Many people stay stuck not because they lack ability, but because they are uncertain about which direction to take. That uncertainty breeds overthinking, procrastination, and fear of failure. But when your thinking is clear, action feels natural and decisive. You don't waste time questioning every step because you understand the bigger picture guiding those steps. Clarity builds confidence, and confidence fuels momentum. To gain clarity of thought, you must be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Reflection, journaling, meditation, or even quiet moments of stillness help strip away the clutter of distractions and reconnect you with your core values and vision. When you know what you truly want, your thoughts align, and when your thoughts align, your actions follow with strength and direction. Clarity also brings consistency. Instead of reacting impulsively to circumstances, you act according to your principles and goals. This consistency compounds over time, creating powerful results. A clear mind is not about having all the answers. It is about having a strong sense of purpose that directs your actions even when the answers are not yet visible. Every meaningful accomplishment begins with a clear thought, and every failure to act often traces back to confusion in the mind. Clarity of thought simplifies life, sharpens decisions, and transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. When your mind is clear, your path becomes clear, and when your path is clear, every action you take moves you closer to the life you truly want to create. Your thoughts are not silent. They radiate through your words, your body language, your energy, and the way you carry yourself, teaching others how to perceive and treat you. If you constantly think of yourself as unworthy, undeserving, or invisible, that belief will shape the way you show up in the world, and others will respond to you in the same way. But if your thoughts are rooted in self, respect, confidence, and worthiness, you naturally communicate that to those around you, and they adjust their behavior accordingly. Your thoughts teach others how to treat you because they determine the standards you set, the boundaries you enforce, and the value you project. When you think small of yourself, you tolerate behavior that disrespects you. You might accept criticism without defending yourself, agree to things that go against your values, or remain silent when you deserve to speak. Over time, this teaches others that you do not expect respect, and they mirror back the message you've been broadcasting through your thoughts. On the other hand, when your inner dialogue is strong, affirming, and empowering, your actions reflect it. You walk with confidence, you speak with certainty, and you set boundaries that communicate your worth. This signals to others that they must approach you with respect and consideration. Your inner beliefs shape your outer reality in relationships, careers, and every social interaction. A person who believes they bring value to the table attracts opportunities and relationships that honor that value. A person who thinks of themselves as less than enough often finds themselves overlooked or mistreated. The difference does not lie in external circumstances, but in the invisible thoughts that set the tone for every encounter. Thoughts also guide the boundaries you create. If you believe you deserve kindness and honesty, you will not hesitate to walk away from people or situations that violate those values. But if your thoughts are filled with doubt and self-criticism, you may accept poor treatment because you have convinced yourself that you don't deserve better. The way you allow others to treat you is often a reflection of the dialogue you have within. Training your mind to hold empowering thoughts is not just about personal growth. It is about reshaping the way the world interacts with you. Self-respect begins in the mind, and once it is firmly rooted, it becomes impossible to hide. People sense it in your presence and respond to it instinctively. When you elevate your thoughts, you elevate the way others see you, and when you believe deeply in your worth, you teach everyone around you to do the same. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life, but the way you think about them determines whether they become roadblocks or stepping stones. Empowered thoughts turn setbacks into lessons because they shift the perspective from defeat to growth. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" empowered thinking asks, "What can I learn from this?" That one shift transforms the meaning of failure, reframes challenges as opportunities, and strengthens the mind to rise again stronger and wiser than before. When a setback strikes, disempowered thoughts create frustration, blame, and hopelessness. You may feel stuck, convinced that the situation has ended your progress, but empowered thoughts remind you that setbacks are temporary and that every challenge carries within it a valuable lesson. These thoughts give you the resilience to step back, reflect, and discover what went wrong and what could be done differently in the future. In this way, every obstacle becomes a teacher, guiding you toward better strategies, sharper skills, and deeper understanding. An empowered mindset recognizes that success is rarely a straight line. Great achievements are often built on a series of failures that were redefined as lessons. Each misstep provided feedback, and each moment of struggle became the foundation for growth. This perspective keeps you moving forward because it transforms disappointment into determination. Instead of saying, "I failed," you say, "I learned." Instead of thinking, "This is the end," you think, "This is a new beginning with greater wisdom." Empowered thoughts also protect your confidence during difficult times. They prevent you from tying your self-worth to outcomes and help you see setbacks as part of the journey rather than reflections of your value. When you believe that every experience has something to teach, you stop fearing mistakes and start embracing them as necessary steps toward mastery. This mindset allows you to take risks, innovate, and push beyond comfort zones without being paralyzed by the possibility of failure. Turning setbacks into lessons also builds resilience, the strength to keep going no matter what. Each time you choose empowered thinking, you reinforce the habit of bouncing back quicker with greater clarity and determination. Over time, setbacks lose their power to discourage you because you have trained your mind to find meaning in them. You begin to trust that no experience is wasted, and that even the hardest challenges are shaping you for something greater. Life will always deliver moments of difficulty, but your thoughts decide what those moments mean. Empowered thoughts see setbacks not as permanent scars, but as stepping stones toward growth, wisdom, and strength. With this mindset, you transform every challenge into a lesson and every lesson into fuel for the journey ahead. Every success story begins with "I can," because those two simple words carry the power to ignite belief, spark action, and sustain momentum. Before any achievement is born into reality, it first takes shape in the mind as a possibility. The thought, "I can," is the seed of that possibility, planting courage where fear exists and opening doors where doubt once stood. Without it, dreams remain ideas locked in the imagination, never reaching the stage of action. With it, even the most impossible goals begin to feel within reach, because belief fuels the will to try. "I can" is not about blind confidence or pretending challenges don't exist. It is about choosing to face those challenges with determination instead of defeat. When you whisper, "I can," to yourself in moments of uncertainty, you are reminding your mind that solutions are possible and that effort matters. That shift in thinking changes how you approach obstacles. Instead of seeing them as barriers meant to stop you, you see them as puzzles waiting to be solved. This mindset builds resilience because each attempt, whether successful or not, strengthens your ability to keep going. Every invention, business, breakthrough, or personal triumph has its roots in someone daring to believe they could. The Wright brothers believed they could fly before the world thought it was possible. Entrepreneurs believed they could build something from nothing when everyone else doubted. Athletes believed they could break records before their bodies ever proved it. History is written by those who began with the thought, "I can," and refused to let anyone or anything convince them otherwise. The words you speak to yourself shape your actions. "I can" becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, guiding you to take steps you might otherwise avoid. It makes effort feel worthwhile and failure feel like feedback instead of finality. Each repetition of "I can" reinforces confidence, training your brain to look for opportunities instead of excuses. Over time, the belief grows stronger, and what once felt impossible becomes achievable. Without the belief that you can, success never has a chance to exist. But once you claim those words, you set in motion a chain reaction of thought, action, and persistence that moves you closer to your vision. Every success story, no matter how grand or humble, begins with a person choosing to believe in possibility. "I can" is the quiet spark that lights the fire of achievement, turning dreams into plans and plans into reality. The mind is a magnet, constantly pulling toward you the very essence of the thoughts you hold most often. When you think growth, you attract growth because the energy and focus you give to expansion, progress, and improvement draw opportunities that align with those intentions. Thoughts are not just invisible whispers in your head. They are signals you broadcast to the world and to yourself, shaping your actions, decisions, and interactions. A mind fixed on growth looks at challenges differently, notices possibilities that others overlook, and creates momentum that attracts success. When your thoughts dwell on limitation, fear, or scarcity, your mind becomes a magnet for hesitation and missed opportunities. You unintentionally pull in the very obstacles you focus on, reinforcing the belief that growth is out of reach. But when you intentionally direct your thoughts toward abundance, learning, and progress, you tune your awareness to see paths forward where others see dead ends. Growth-oriented thinking primes your brain to look for solutions, to remain curious, and to embrace the lessons hidden in every failure. That focus creates a powerful attraction that aligns your life with continuous advancement. Thinking growth also shifts the way you carry yourself and how others perceive you. A person with a growth mindset exudes confidence, openness, and adaptability, qualities that naturally attract mentors, collaborators, and opportunities. People are drawn to those who radiate possibility, and your magnetism grows stronger the more you nurture empowering thoughts. This attraction is not luck. It is the natural consequence of a mind that expects growth and acts in harmony with that expectation. Every great transformation begins with an inner decision to expand. When you feed your mind thoughts of growth, you become willing to step out of comfort zones, to take risks, and to see failure as feedback instead of defeat. That willingness pulls in new experiences that accelerate your development. The more you grow, the more opportunities appear, and the cycle continues, fueled by the magnetism of your thoughts. The beauty of the mind's magnetism is that you are always in control of what it attracts. By choosing to focus on progress rather than problems, on lessons rather than losses, and on potential rather than limitations, you shape the energy you send into the world. Growth becomes not just a possibility but an inevitability because your mind is constantly pulling it closer. The magnet of your thoughts never stops working, and when you align it with growth, you invite into your life the people, ideas, and opportunities that elevate you higher than you imagined possible. The mind is a magnet, a force that pulls toward you the reality that mirrors your most dominant thoughts. When you think growth, you attract growth, because what you consistently focus on becomes the direction your life moves toward. Your thoughts shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. Just like a magnet naturally pulls objects within its field, your mind attracts experiences, opportunities, and people that align with the beliefs and expectations you hold most deeply. If you train your mind to see possibility, progress, and abundance, you naturally draw more of these qualities into your life. Every thought carries energy, and that energy becomes the lens through which you perceive the world. A person who constantly thinks in terms of limitation will attract situations that confirm those limitations. They will see only obstacles and reasons why something cannot work. On the other hand, someone who trains their mind to focus on growth will see setbacks as lessons, challenges as opportunities, and possibilities where others only see barriers. This mindset shifts how you respond to life, and that response creates a magnetic pull that brings more growth to you. Growth-oriented thinking does not deny difficulties, it redefines them. When your mind is tuned to progress, you no longer see failure as a dead end but as a stepping stone toward improvement. This resilience attracts momentum because instead of being stuck in fear or regret, you remain open to learning, adapting, and moving forward. People with this mindset stand out, and opportunities naturally gravitate toward them because they embody confidence and determination. Just like a magnet cannot help but attract, a growth-oriented mind cannot help but draw success closer. Thinking growth also transforms your relationships. The energy you project influences how others respond to you. A mind fixed on expansion radiates positivity, curiosity, and openness, qualities that attract mentors, allies, and partners who can help you reach the next level. People want to connect with those who inspire them and make them feel that progress is possible, and when your thoughts are centered on growth, you become that person. This creates a network of opportunities that feeds back into your journey of advancement. Your thoughts also determine the standards you set for yourself. When you think growth, you no longer settle for mediocrity or stagnation. You challenge yourself to evolve, to seek new skills, to pursue new experiences, and to push beyond comfort zones. This continual expansion attracts further opportunities for learning and achievement. The universe responds to the energy of your expectations, and when your expectations are rooted in growth, you draw experiences that match them. The magnetic nature of the mind means that you are always attracting something, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you allow negative, limiting, or fearful thoughts to dominate, the magnet of your mind will pull in circumstances that reinforce those beliefs. But if you deliberately feed your mind empowering thoughts of progress, resilience, and possibility, your magnet begins pulling in the people, events, and breakthroughs that align with that energy. Growth then becomes not just an occasional experience, but a continuous way of life. The mind is always working, always attracting, always shaping. By choosing growth in your thoughts, you align yourself with a future filled with advancement, wisdom, and opportunity. When you think growth, you invite momentum, and when you continue to feed that thought, you create a magnetic force that keeps expansion flowing toward you in ways greater than you could imagine. Daily affirmations rewire your brain because the thoughts you repeat consistently carve new pathways in the mind, gradually replacing old patterns of doubt, fear, or limitation with empowering beliefs. The brain is highly adaptable, a quality known as neuroplasticity, which means it can be reshaped by experience and repetition. Every time you say an affirmation, you are sending a signal to your subconscious mind, teaching it what to focus on, what to expect, and what to believe. Over time, these repeated signals build new neural connections that strengthen the very beliefs you want to embody. Just like practicing a skill makes it second nature, affirmations practiced daily become part of your mental blueprint. When you first begin using affirmations, they may feel unnatural or even unbelievable, especially if they contradict years of negative self-talk. But the power lies in persistence. The brain does not distinguish between truth and repetition. It simply accepts what it hears most often. If for years you've told yourself you are not good enough, your brain has built strong pathways to support that thought. Daily affirmations work to dismantle those old structures and replace them with new ones that reinforce confidence, strength, and possibility. With time, your mind begins to default to these empowering thoughts automatically. Affirmations also influence the way you act. By telling yourself, "I am capable," you prime your brain to look for ways to prove that statement true. You carry yourself differently, make bolder decisions, and interpret challenges as opportunities rather than threats. This shift in behavior reinforces the affirmation, creating a positive cycle between thought and action. What begins as a simple spoken sentence becomes a lived reality because your brain adjusts to align with the beliefs you feed it. The power of affirmations is not in magic but in consistency. They act like drops of water on stone. Over time, the repetition reshapes even the hardest surfaces. A few positive words said once may feel good in the moment, but daily repetition is what creates deep transformation. Each time you affirm something positive about yourself, you weaken the grip of negative thinking and strengthen the voice of empowerment. Slowly, your inner dialogue transforms, and that new voice begins to guide your decisions, your relationships, and your vision of the future. Daily affirmations also cultivate emotional resilience. When setbacks occur, instead of spiraling into discouragement, the affirmations you've ingrained rise to the surface. They remind you of your strength, your worth, and your ability to move forward. This inner reinforcement becomes a shield against the weight of self-doubt, helping you maintain focus and perseverance. The mind is always listening, always recording, and always shaping itself based on what it hears. Most often, by choosing affirmations consciously, you take control of that process, ensuring your brain is being wired for success, confidence, and growth instead of fear, insecurity, and limitation. Daily affirmations rewire your brain not overnight but over time, proving that small, consistent thoughts create the foundation for the life you want to live. Big dreams require big thoughts first, because everything you will ever achieve begins in the landscape of your mind before it becomes a reality. No invention, business, movement, or personal transformation ever existed without first being imagined as possible. The size of your dream is limited or expanded by the size of your thoughts. If your thinking is small, cautious, or restricted by fear, your dreams will shrink to fit that box. But if your thoughts are bold, limitless, and filled with courage, they expand the horizon of what you believe is achievable. Big thoughts are the foundation upon which big dreams are built. Your thoughts create the mental framework that guides your actions. If you think small, you act small, and those actions generate small results. But when you allow yourself to think big, your actions rise to match that level of vision. You start taking steps that may feel uncomfortable but are necessary for growth. Big thinking forces you to leave behind excuses and limitations, replacing them with creativity and determination. It gives you the mental permission to reach for more, to believe that you can go beyond what seems ordinary or safe. Big thoughts also attract big opportunities. The energy of expansive thinking radiates outward, drawing people, ideas, and resources that align with your vision. Others are inspired by those who dare to think beyond the ordinary because big thinkers embody possibility. When you think big, you set a standard that challenges others to rise with you, and in that process, collaboration and momentum are born. This magnetism does not come from luck, but from the strength of your inner vision. At the same time, big thoughts prepare you for the inevitable challenges that come with big dreams. When your vision is grand, obstacles will appear, but expansive thinking equips you to face them with resilience. Instead of being discouraged by setbacks, you see them as stepping stones on the way to something greater. Big thoughts keep you focused on the bigger picture, reminding you that short-term struggles are part of a long-term journey. They give you the endurance to persevere when the path feels steep. Dreaming big without first thinking big is like trying to build a skyscraper on a weak foundation. The structure cannot stand unless the base is strong enough to support it. Big thoughts lay that foundation by expanding your beliefs, building your confidence, and opening your mind to new levels of possibility. The clearer and bolder your thinking, the stronger the foundation for your dreams to stand tall. Every breakthrough in history started with someone daring to think bigger than the world around them. Visionaries, leaders, and creators all carried thoughts that were larger than their circumstances. They refused to let fear or limitation define the boundaries of their dreams. Their big thoughts fueled their actions, and those actions shaped their legacies. Big dreams require big thoughts first, because the mind is where possibility begins. If you want to live a life that stretches beyond the ordinary, you must first give yourself permission to think in extraordinary ways. The greater your thoughts, the greater the canvas on which your dreams can unfold. The quality of life reflects the quality of thoughts, because everything you experience in the outer world is shaped by what you consistently hold in your inner world. Your mind is the filter through which you interpret reality, and that filter determines whether you see opportunities or obstacles, whether you experience joy or dissatisfaction, whether you move forward with courage or remain stuck in fear. If your thoughts are clouded with negativity, worry, or self-doubt, life begins to mirror that mindset, leaving you feeling trapped and unfulfilled. But when your thoughts are positive, empowered, and focused on growth, life responds with clarity, energy, and fulfillment. Thoughts shape emotions, and emotions shape actions. If you spend most of your time entertaining thoughts of scarcity, failure, or comparison, your emotions naturally become heavy with stress, jealousy, or hopelessness. Those emotions then guide your actions in a way that limits your potential, causing you to avoid risks, resist opportunities, or settle for less than you deserve. Over time, these choices shape a life that reflects the negativity you've been feeding your mind. On the other hand, when you nurture thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and possibility, you create emotions of hope, peace, and excitement. Those emotions fuel actions rooted in confidence, creativity, and determination, which lead to experiences that elevate your life. The quality of your thoughts also influences the way you handle challenges. Two people can face the same difficulty, yet their outcomes differ dramatically because of the way they think about it. A mind focused on problems magnifies the struggle, turning setbacks into roadblocks. A mind focused on solutions reframes the challenge as an opportunity to grow, turning the same setback into a stepping stone. This shift in perspective does not erase difficulty, but it empowers you to rise above it, making life feel less like a series of battles and more like a journey of lessons. Your thoughts even impact your relationships and the way others treat you. If you carry thoughts of unworthiness, you unconsciously teach others to treat you as less. But if your thoughts are filled with self-respect and value, you set a higher standard and people respond accordingly. Life reflects back the image you project, and that image begins with what you consistently tell yourself. The quality of life is not measured solely by external possessions or achievements, but by the inner state you live with every day. A person can have wealth and still feel poor if their thoughts are consumed with lack. Another can have modest means yet live richly because their thoughts are centered on gratitude and abundance. The outer world always adjusts to match the inner one, making your thoughts the true architects of your reality. By consciously choosing empowering, positive, and growth-oriented thoughts, you elevate the entire experience of life. When the quality of your thoughts improves, your choices, emotions, relationships, and opportunities all rise with it. Life becomes brighter, more purposeful, and more aligned with your true potential because the outer world can only reflect the inner one. Change your thoughts, and your feelings will follow. Because every emotion you experience is born from the way you interpret what is happening around you. Your feelings are not random, they are the result of the story your mind tells in each moment. If your thoughts are filled with fear, your body responds with anxiety. If your thoughts are filled with gratitude, your heart responds with peace. The power to transform how you feel lies not in waiting for circumstances to change, but in choosing to shift the thoughts that give those circumstances meaning. Many people believe their emotions control them, but in reality, it is the thoughts they choose that fuel those emotions. Consider two people stuck in the same traffic jam. One thinks, "This is unbearable, I'm wasting so much time," and their body fills with anger and frustration. The other thinks, "This is an opportunity to listen to something uplifting or reflect on my day," and they feel calm and relaxed. The situation is identical, but the feelings are entirely different because of the thoughts each person chose to focus on. When you change your thoughts, you gain the power to redirect your emotional state. Shifting from "I can't handle this" to "I will find a way" replaces helplessness with determination. Moving from "I always fail" to "every step is teaching me something" transforms discouragement into resilience. Even small adjustments in thought patterns create dramatic shifts in how you feel, and those shifts influence the way you act. Positive emotions born from empowering thoughts give you energy, motivation, and clarity, while negative emotions born from limiting thoughts drain your strength and narrow your perspective. Changing thoughts also rewires your brain over time. Each time you choose a healthier, more constructive thought, you strengthen the neural pathways that support positive emotions. This makes it easier to return to those states in the future. It does not mean you will never feel sadness, fear, or anger, but it means you will no longer be at their mercy. Instead, you can acknowledge the emotion, trace it back to the thought behind it, and choose a perspective that supports healing, courage, or peace. Your feelings are like the weather, and your thoughts are like the climate. A single thought may bring a passing emotion, but the quality of your repeated thoughts determines the emotional climate you live in every day. If you want to experience more joy, peace, or confidence, you must feed your mind thoughts that align with those states. Affirmations, gratitude practices, and intentional reframing are powerful ways to plant new thoughts that naturally give rise to better feelings. Life becomes lighter and more empowering when you understand this connection. Instead of feeling controlled by moods, you recognize that you hold the key to influencing them. By taking charge of your thoughts, you take charge of your emotions, and when your emotions shift, your actions and experiences shift as well. Change your thoughts, and your feelings will follow, because your mind is always the first author of your inner world. A disciplined mind is an unstoppable force, because it has the ability to rise above distraction, temptation, and fear, focusing with laser precision on what truly matters. Discipline in the mind is not about rigid control, but about training your thoughts to serve your highest goals instead of pulling you in every direction. When your mind is disciplined, it becomes a tool of immense power, capable of sustaining focus through challenges, resisting the urge to give up, and channeling energy into meaningful action. This kind of mental strength turns ordinary individuals into extraordinary achievers because it ensures consistency, clarity, and resilience in the face of any obstacle. An undisciplined mind easily falls prey to negativity, procrastination, and doubt. It wavers when difficulties arise, shifts with every distraction, and abandons goals at the first sign of resistance. But a disciplined mind sees beyond the temporary discomfort and keeps its attention locked on the bigger vision. It is like a river that flows steadily in one direction, cutting through rock not because of brute strength, but because of persistence. With discipline, your mind learns to silence the noise of excuses, to reject the lure of instant gratification, and to endure the effort required for lasting success. Discipline in thought also creates freedom. At first, it may seem restrictive to control your mental patterns, but true freedom comes when you are no longer a prisoner of impulses, fears, or destructive habits. A disciplined mind gives you mastery over yourself, allowing you to choose thoughts that empower rather than weaken you. It helps you stay calm under pressure, see opportunities where others see problems, and make decisions that align with long-term growth instead of short-term comfort. This inner control radiates outward, shaping your actions, relationships, and ultimately your destiny. Every great accomplishment in history has been fueled by the disciplined mind of someone who refused to quit. Visionaries, leaders, and creators are not free of distraction or doubt. They simply train their minds to rise above them. Their discipline allows them to endure setbacks, to work with consistency, and to hold on to belief when others give in. A disciplined mind does not avoid challenges, it thrives on them, knowing each one is an opportunity to grow stronger. Cultivating such a mind requires practice, through focus, repetition, and conscious choice. Daily habits like meditation, affirmations, or setting clear goals strengthen mental discipline, training the mind to remain steady and purposeful. Over time, the discipline becomes second nature, and what once felt difficult becomes effortless. A disciplined mind is unstoppable because nothing external can control it. Circumstances may change, obstacles may appear, and setbacks may arise, but a disciplined mind remains unshaken, continuing forward with persistence and clarity. It transforms effort into achievement, dreams into reality, and struggle into strength. When the mind is disciplined, it cannot be defeated. because its power lies not in fleeting motivation, but in unyielding consistency,